religious talking points that pop up saying that the only way that you can actually stand up against the idea pathogens is if you believe in some kind of creator of the universe, some kind of God, have Judeo-Christian morality or values, and that you can't be an atheist or a rational free thinker and stand up against these pathogens.
Well, I mean, of course, as you might imagine, I staunchly disagree with that. I think the way to inoculate yourself against the idea pathogens that I discuss in the parasitic mind is through the scientific method. That's the God to which I pray, to reason, to logic, to common sense. So there are, I mean, if the only way to be inoculated against idea pathogens is through some religious fervor, then how do we explain my existence? How do we explain the fact that I wrote the parasitic mind? So I don't think that you need to be, if anything, as you know, many previous thinkers, Daniel Dennett and Richard Dawkins, have viewed the religion memeplex as a form of mind virus, right? Now, the difference between the mimetic framework that they used and the one that I took up in my book is that I actually argue that many of these idea pathogens are parasitic in a literal sense. So in the animal kingdom, what you have is many examples of this interaction between a host and the neuroparasite that parasitizes it, going to its brain, altering its neuronal circuitry in order to advance typically its reproductive interests. So you can have a cricket that is otherwise very afraid of water, but once it is parasitized by a particular brain worm, it starts jumping into the water in a very cavalier way because the parasite needs for it to be in water in order to complete its reproductive cycle. And so that was my epiphany in terms of using that neuroparasitological framework to explain how we could be so insanely parasitized by these alluring yet truly imbecilic ideas. Now, some of your guests or viewers may not know what constitutes an idea pathogen. So maybe I'll just mention a few if that's okay.
Please.
So postmodernism is what I call the granddaddy of all idea pathogens, because postmodernism purports that there are no absolute truths. We are always constrained by subjectivity, by relativity, by our personal biases. So to speak of an absolute truth is silly. There is no such thing. Well, the reason why that's a fundamentally nihilistic idea pathogen is because, well, the scientific method does suppose that there is a truth that is out there to be discovered. Now, in science, we have provisional truths. What we thought was true 300 years ago may no longer hold true. There's an autocorrective mechanism to science, but we do wake up every day thinking that there is something to be discovered using the dispassionate and impartial epistemology of the scientific method. So what happens when you adhere to a postmodernist philosophy is you get what I call intellectual terrorism. It's precisely that framework that allows you to say there is no such thing as male or female. Your genitalia does not constrain you. If I say that I'm female, period. Don't argue against it. So that would be probably the most dangerous attack on truth, the idea pathogen of postmodernism. Other examples of idea pathogens: social constructivism is another idea pathogen because it purports that we are all born tabula rasa with empty minds, with equal potentiality, and the only thing that makes us different from one another is a sequence of life events that led to our unique life experiences. So it's socialization. So why did Lionel Messi become the greatest soccer player of all time? Well, because his mother must have hugged him enough or not hugged him enough. Why did Michael Jordan become who he became? Same argument. Now, there is an element that is very beautiful about that because it gives hope to every parent that each of our children is born with the potential to be the next Einstein, the next Messi, or the next Jordan. But it is perfectly rooted, if I may say, in pure bullshit, right? But it makes me feel good. So it caters to my emotional system. Cultural relativism is another idea pathogen. Who are we to judge if other cultures want to cut off the clitorises of 5-year-old girls? Who are we to say that it's wrong? It's their culture. Militant feminism is another one because it rejects evolved biological differences. And so for all sorts of reasons, universities have really been the ecosystem from which all of these dreadful ideas were spawned and then proliferated throughout society. And the creation of these ideas, the proliferation of these ideas, and the defense against of these ideas is not reserved for the religious or non-religious. So to your earlier point, whether I'm religious or not, secular or not, I could be just as easily parasitized. So
Right.
you mentioned Sam Harris earlier. Sam Harris is kind of the poster child of the original atheist. And I would argue that he's currently one of the most parasitized people on the face of the earth. So you could be religious and be parasitized, and you could be secular and atheist and be parasitized.